Plants are trying to kill you. Yes, I know everything that we hear today is all about how wonderful plants are and how much we need to eat them and need to eat more of them. But what I found is it's absolutely not the case. And plants are full of chemicals that will damage you and hurt you. And if you don't take this to heart, you're setting yourself up for gaining more weight and getting more sick as the years go by. Now, if you don't know me, I'm Aaron Waddell from Ancestry Aligned Health, and I help busy dads who are approaching middle age and feel that diets have failed them to lose weight and regain their health. It's a quick story about me. A decade ago, I was approaching 40. I was father to two beautiful girls, and I was seriously out of shape. I tried listening to the common advice to lose weight, and all it brought me was chronic conditions like prostatitis and plantar fasciitis, low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, you name it, I had it. After a timely wake up call, I began to question everything I've been taught about health and weight loss. And for the next 8 years, I developed a program that allows me to have amazing health and boundless energy. So, enough about me. Let's get to what you came for, my 5 top tips for weight loss. So, first tip I have is to sit at the table. And I think we miss out a lot on this in modern life. We end up eating in a lot of different places because of our schedules and just kind of habits and things. So I'm going to say my first step, if you really want to lose weight and keep it off, is to sit at the table. And what I think this does for us is it creates a ritual. Um, Ritual is very important to humans, and we kind of get lost if we don't have rituals that we follow. That's the reason why we like morning routines are so popular, and work routines, things like that. That our bodies adapt very well to set schedules, and when we don't practice this, things kind of go haywire. Our brain kind of gets a state of it doesn't know what's coming next, and it adds to our stress. So I think it's very important creating a ritual, especially with family if you have it, and just creating that time for eating. The second thing it does is it reduces mindless eating. I think this is just way too common because of mostly like because of TV and because like social media and things where our brain is focused on something else, and I would include work in this as well. Our brain is kind of focused on something else, and we just end up, plowing through whatever food we have nearby. I mean, how many times have you been there that you know you started watching a movie, like say at the theater, and before the trailers were over, you had already like finished your whole thing of popcorn. It just because it's there and just it just becomes a mindless practice. Same thing with like watching TV and eating a bag of chips. It just comes so easy, and we don't even realize we're doing it until we're done. And then the other benefit of sitting at the table for all our meals is creating that sense of community. When we sit down to dinner with our family, there's so much benefit of that social interaction, um, that we don't get if we're all just sitting at the TV or whatever and eating our meals or eating snacks or whatever it may be. And that social interaction is hugely beneficial to us humans. It, if you look at the so-called blue zones, the thing that they really have in common is a just really, really strong sense of community and bonding between the residents. And it's just extends life. There's no real bounds about it. Like when we're lonely and feel like alone, we just don't live as long. And it's just huge benefit to social interaction, whenever we can. My second tip is to explore the reasons behind your eating. So, what we find is that we eat for a variety of reasons. Not obviously we eat for hunger. That's a given. That's how our bodies function. But what realizes that there's a bunch of other reasons that can cause us to eat. And for example, one's stress. And when we're under, I've talked about stress before, and stress is a natural part of being a human and being a being, really. But and the way stress, I heard this the other day. The way stress works in the natural world is that, like, say, when a lion hunts down a zebra, and as they're being chased, the zebra is under a tremendous amount of stress because he's trying to get away and run for his life, to survive, and so this stress response increases things like adrenaline, cortisone, all these hormones and things, in the body to give the zebra the best chance of surviving. And in the same way, the lion that's chasing it is under significant stress too, because he may be starving, maybe he hasn't had a meal in several days, and he needs to catch that prey, or he's not going to make it. And so he's under stress as well. And we see that this plays out though in a matter of minutes. Either the zebra catches the lion catches the zebra, and the zebra's life is over, and so is his stress, or the lion catches the zebra and the lion is no longer stressed now that he has a meal, or the zebra gets away, and it kind of goes back to what we call homeostasis, like a balance. But the thing is that for us humans, we have this knowledge, awareness that animals don't have. And so stress for us isn't just, a life or death situation. It can be that there's a traffic jam, or, you're worried about going bankrupt. That's not, those things don't go away. They stay with us, and this causes stress. And so, kind of one way we use to soothe the stress is with eating. We found it gives us comfort and, kind of helps us deal with that chronic stress. Another reason behind our eating is emotional pain, um, brought about by previous traumas, um, brought about by things that have happened to us, recently that were painful. And we use those to, we use food to escape that pain. And I'm sure, if you have a problem with your weight, you probably realize that. It's a way of, I call it buffering, like kind of shoving the pain down, getting that good feeling from the food, and kind of squashing that pain down so you don't feel anymore. But the problem with this is that the pain inevitably comes back, and then you end up eating again, and it's a vicious cycle. Um, the last next is habit. Um, a lot of times we just eat because that's the thing we do. Like, we eat 3 meals a day or 4 meals a day because it's our habit. We, you know, go watch our favorite show or our favorite, or go look at YouTube or whatever, and bring a bag of chips or a soda or whatever, because that's our thing we do. It's our habit, and that can be really hard to break. And then another point I want to touch on is the social aspect or fitting in. Like when we're with our friends or family, and they put out a big spread of food, or have desserts, cakes and cookies, ice cream, sort of thing, and it feels really weird to not participate in those things. Especially I'd put in like alcohol with that. It's really uncomfortable to be the only person not drinking in a social situation, and so we kind of get that peer pressure, and we want to fit in, and so we end up maybe eating things that, or eating or drinking things that we really didn't want to. And before we get to the third tip, I just wanted to share and say that, if you're looking at the first two and saying, I don't know how I can possibly do those, then I can help you with that. I've got a challenge coming up called the Diesel Dad Weight Loss Challenge. I'm so excited to have it, and it'll help you get through those points. You'll learn the 5S framework for ending overeating. You'll learn the SPEAR system for dealing with any problem in your life, and much, much more. You can access the wait list at ancestrallyalignedhealth.com/challenge, or just click on the link in the video. Hope to see you there soon. My next tip is no more than 3 meals a day. So in our modern society, we've seen so much more of this eating 4, 5, even 6 meals a day being like prescribed as being healthy. And people always talk about that it like kind of boosts your metabolism, or like keeps your metabolism up, keeps your energy levels up, keeps you from storing fat, all these things. And really, from what I've seen, all of this just comes down to marketing. It's about food companies, restaurants, just trying to get us to eat more of their food. Really, essentially, what it is. Like Taco Bell came out with a campaign, like the fourth meal thing. They like So you eat your normal 3 meals and then come to Taco Bell and get a fourth meal because they aren't making enough money. So so if we look in history, people at most ate 3 meals, and often two. Often times people would eat a big breakfast, go work all day, and then eat dinner. Um, or some would delay their breakfast, delay their first meal, and have a lunch and then a dinner at night. And I think we see that, and that really works fine. And even one meal a day can work fine. But the problem when we add in these extra meals is, for one, we don't give time, we don't give our body time to fully digest the food that we have. It's a lot of it. It's like still sitting there in our stomach, and we're just piling more on top of it. So then this isn't optimal for our bodies for a bunch of reasons. Um, when we eat like this, we increase the time that we're under a glucose load, so that our blood sugar will be elevated for like most of the day, and this leads to all kinds of trouble with called ages, um, glycolytic end products, when the from all this glucose sitting in our bloodstream, um, and leading to arterial blockage, heart disease, and that sort of thing. And then the last thing to talk about is autophagy. Autophagy is the process by which the body reuses old proteins, like that are out of in disrepair, um, disformed, damaged, whatever, and kind of reuses those and recycles them into new tissue. And so this can happen from our skin, our organs, our muscles, anywhere. These misshapen proteins, that we really can't use anymore, and we can kind of recycle those and repurpose them. And if we keep eating all the time, this process doesn't get to occur because we don't, our stomachs are empty, so we're still just digesting the food we got, that we never get the chance to recycle those old proteins. My next tip is focusing on animal foods and fruit. So, what I found is, first I'm talking about animal foods. What I found that animal foods are the most nourishing foods that we can eat. They have all the necessary protein, fat, um, minerals, vitamins, like all the things that we need to sustain life. Um, the the second thing is that animal foods provide high levels of satiety. Um, Basically, what I mean is like fullness. And I'll give an example of this, how satiating animal foods are. So imagine that you went to your favorite steakhouse and you ordered a, let's call it a 24-ounce ribeye. And with all, we'll say with all the fixings, and you ate that, and you were and you got that last bite and you were completely stuffed. And then the owner came up to you and said, "Hey, congratulations, you were the 1 millionth visitor to our restaurant. I'd like to give you another free another 24-ounce steak for free." And let me ask you, could you eat it? I'm going to say a high likelihood that you couldn't. It just there's no way you could stuff it into your mouth. But in the same situation, and you finish your meal, and then they say, um, can you eat or they offer you, say, a free dessert, like a free bowl of ice cream, and say it's your favorite flavor. Um, could you eat it? And I'll say most likely you could, because that sugar kind of has the opposite effect of the satiety. It like actually increases your ability to eat more food rather than decreases it. So that's just word about satiety. And then bioavailability is a big key. Um, the nutrients in animal foods are very bioavailable, meaning like easily processed by your body, available to be used. Um, since they're in a format that's very close to what they will be in your body is very capable of absorbing those nutrients and utilizing them in your own body. And last, just this kind of a proof of why animal foods and fruit are so good is that they've just been eaten for millions of years. So it looked like since kind of the dawn of the human race, we've eaten animal foods, and that really hasn't changed in all that time. Now, the reasons for adding the fruit and the raw honey, I kind of put that in the same category as fruit because it does come from like flowering plants. Um, these help maintain the metabolic flexibility. For example, if you have if you eat a ketogenic diet long term, your body gets so used to burning fat for energy that when you do use when you do eat sugar, it can kind of jack up your system because your body's not used to using it for energy, and it can kind of lead to a type of insulin resistance, higher blood sugar, that sort of thing. Their fruit is the least damaging part of the plant. Plants have literally designed the fruit to be eaten. That's how they survive. Like it's intended to be eaten by animals, so that they can spread their seed. Depending on the type of fruit, either discarding it after they eat around it, or coming out through the feces. Uh, Animal foods improve electrolyte balance. I'm sorry, not animal foods, but fruit and honey improve electrolyte balance. One problem that many people have on a ketogenic diet is they've had to resort to using ridiculously high levels of salt to maintain their electrolytes. And while salt's not necessarily a bad thing, it does kind of point to a problem that we shouldn't have to be consuming huge amounts of salt that we would have had trouble getting to in a pre-industrial society. Is like hunter gatherers don't they'll eat salt if they get it, but it's not so available. So it kind of points to an issue, and adding in the fruit keeps that electrolyte balance much easier to maintain. Um, they also improve hormone balance, and there's a problem that I saw on a ketogenic diet is that while a lot of symptoms that I had got better, like my testosterone still didn't improve until I added back in fruit. And I think this just goes to show that your body sees kind of that balance of nutrients coming in, and it will be more ready to optimize hormone production. They're a great quick source of energy, which can improve performance if you're concerned about that sort of thing, for your workouts or whatnot. And then another important aspect, I think, is that it reduces the monotony of a carnivorous diet. I think a lot of people some people do great on beef and salt, and beef and water and maybe eggs or whatever, but some people really get bored of it. And this adding in fruit, I think, makes it just seem much less restrictive, and I think it improves the long-term adherence to this type of diet. And I also want to point out that we're talking about whole fruit and not juices. The thing about whole fruit is that you get the fructose load, but you also get insoluble fiber and a lot of water with it. And this kind of getting it in this entire whole package kind of slows down the speed at which it's absorbed, and doesn't put such a strain on the liver to process that glucose. Now, when we're talking about juices, that's really a different thing, because you're getting rid of the fiber, and it just kind of hits all at once. And as we've seen, this increasing amount of fiber, amount of juice that we consume, has led to this kind of crisis of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, a disease that really used to be only known to alcoholics, and is now affecting even children because of the huge amount of juice being consumed. And my last tip is to avoid plants. And I know this goes against all the common knowledge, all the advice we hear from everyone about how wonderful plants are. But let's just kind of look at it critically. So what we see if we look at the plant world, that at least 99% of plants are completely toxic. Like, they would kill us or make us really sick if we ate them. Just think about going out into your yard and just kind of start eating your grass or your, vegetation, your landscaping. Like, you would be horribly sick, if not dead, within hours, I'm sure. So there's just a very small number of plants that can even be consumed by humans. Whereas you look at in the other direction, 99%, at least 99% of animals are safe to eat. There's very few examples of animals that would hurt you if you ate them. people always bring up the example of polar bear liver, and like maybe blowfish. But I mean, even the polar bear liver, that's only part of an animal that you should avoid. And you know, yeah, blowfish is probably one I wouldn't try to eat, but some people do. Just if it's cooked properly. Um, Not my cup of tea, but you know, and they're just mostly safe to eat. Um, Second thing is plants do not want to be eaten. I mean, obviously, plants want to survive. They want to, and want is a loose term. I mean, it's they don't really probably have wishes and desires, but they don't want to be eaten. They want to survive. They want to continue on to the next generation. So they've implemented all kinds of defense chemicals to prevent themselves from being eaten. Um, it's kind of developed, through evolution, and they keep animals from trying to eat them for nutrition. Um, Obviously, certain animals can; they're adapted to that, but a lot aren't. And then the whole thing about plants and and fiber is an indigestible compound. We're talking about insoluble fiber here, not the soluble fiber that's in fruit. And this insoluble fiber passes through our digestive system pretty much like undigested because we don't have the enzymes to break down the cell walls of plants. And but it's but as it goes through our digestive system, it does damage. It like tears up um like tears up the intestines, um, causes damage to them, and leads to a bunch of GI issues because of its nature as being undigestible. The next, plants have these. They call them anti-nutrients. Examples are phytates, gluten, tannins, lectins, and oxalates. And what these things do is these compounds do is they bind up um, some of the nutrients that may be in the plants or that we would get from other sources so that they can't be absorbed into the body and they just get excreted. Things like magnesium, iron, um, potassium, calcium, things like that. And not only do these um, create like things like kidney stones or gall stones, but they prevent the absorption of these key nutrients into our body, so that we get these deficiencies. One example I have is that people think of spinach as being high in iron, or beans as high in iron, but the phytates and oxalates in those foods like completely prevent that iron from being absorbed. So it's really there's no comes to no benefit. And these these oxalates are dangerous in themselves. I'll give an example of a man who drank like I think like I don't know 20 glasses of tea or something a day and ended up in the hospital with oxalate poisoning. So it really is a thing and something we have to be careful of. And then the last one I want to touch on is fermenting. And fermenting is something that has been done for thousands and thousands of years to improve the digestibility of these plants, especially in times when there weren't enough animal foods to provide the nutrition we needed, we looked for other sources, and what we found is that the way that we could do the least damage and get the most nutrition out of the vegetables, plants that we ate, was to ferment them. And I think this is a beneficial way. And this, what the fermenting process does is it neutralizes a lot of these anti-nutrients, the phytates and the oxalates and things, lectins, and it also provides beneficial probiotics for our gut bacteria, like a source of food for the bacteria that live in our gut. And this aids in the digestion process as well. So there you have it. Those are my top 5 weight loss tips. So just go over them again. Sit at the table, explore the reasons behind your eating, figure out what's causing you to eat the way you are. Having no more than 3 meals a day. Focus your diet on animal foods and fruit and also honey. And avoid plants as much as possible, especially grains and seeds, which are essentially plant babies. And they don't, like I said, they put a lot of defense chemicals around those because they don't want their babies to be eaten. Hey, thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you got some good information out of it, and you can implement those tips to start losing the weight you want to lose today. If you'd like more, I've got a challenge coming up, and I'd love to have you join. I'm calling my Diesel Dad Weight Loss Challenge. You can sign up at ancestrallyalignedhealth.com/challenge. And if you want to see, you can also join my Facebook group. It's right now it's called Weight Loss and Health for Busy Dads, but I'm going to be changing it soon, I think, to Diesel Dads Weight Loss and Health. And so you can join my legion of Diesel Dads at that group. And then if you want to see all my links, I created a link for that. You can see it there, ancestrallyalignedhealth.com/links. And you can see everything I've got available for you. Well, that's all I had. Thanks for your time, and hope to see you again next time, where I'll have some more great tips for creating robust health and boundless energy. Talk to you soon. Bye.